Okay, so you have now completed most of phase one. You can make sure that you have everything by going to the assessment rubric, and I really would advise that you do that. Go to the assessment rubric. I'm just going to open it here in front of us. Sorry, I didn't open it before the time, so just give it a moment. Okay, so oops. Okay, sorry guys, let me just check what's going on here. There we go. Now it should be fine. Okay, so we definitely know that we have our 4 marks for the task definition because you put that in step by step in the beginning. Then your focus question, you should also have those marks because we did that step by step. Now, after completing those 10 questions at the top, where you made a screenshot of the answers, you decided whether you want to work from the source or create the questions and then go look for the answer. Either way, you now have 3 headings with 10 questions, and you've made sure that your 10 questions are from 3 different levels. And you have now completed the tables at the bottom of your research report Word document. Okay, so now check. All questions are relevant to the topic and will help address the problem. Read over your questions again and make sure that you will get that mark. Questions are relevant, representative of at least 3 different cognitive levels. Those are the 3 levels I was talking about. Make sure that you can at least find those words that the levels start with that I mentioned to you, 3 of them. All questions are grouped under categories or headings, and there's 3 different headings. Check that you have 3 different headings, but that should be fine too. Then a possible appropriate source type, that is at the bottom in those 3 tables that you cited your sources in that little column that says possible source, you have an answer for each and every question. So can you see that I can't give you that mark if you don't have a possible source type for each and every question? Make sure you have it. Then at least 10 questions included. Make sure you have at least 10 questions. And then this part is also obviously very important. You have 2 websites and 1 other. If you're not sure about the 1 other, you can use like a News24 from the News24 website or any newspaper website, a newspaper article, and use that as your 3rd source and your 1 other source. Okay, so make sure that it is from a magazine website or a newspaper website if you have not actually used like a hard copy source of something else. So make sure you've got that one. Then I'm obviously going to check for your website. You have the author, the name of the website, date created, date accessed, and URL. I'll talk about the date accessed quickly now when I go back to the research document. But look at what you are getting marks for here under your sources. Make sure for each source that you have author, name of website, date created, and the URL for both your 2nd website and your 1st website. And then for the 1 other, you need different information. So please make sure you've got the correct things there to get the marks. You have the author, the title of the newspaper or the article, the date that it was published, and the publisher. So if you are using a News24 article from the website, it's fine. Then you're going to say the publisher is News24. And you'll look at the reporter's name there for author. Okay, so make sure you have the correct details there to get those marks. Now, the last things we are going to come to is the authority, currency, accuracy, objectivity, and coverage. I'm going to explain each of those to you carefully and in detail now. And then just quickly to get to the marks of the summaries here. The summaries are the answers. Okay, so let me go to the research report now. Down to those tables we've been talking about. okay? Just be careful. I've left these screenshots in. You obviously have to remove them and put in your own, okay? And just to refresh your memory again, but I did say that in the previous video, if you go to references here, to manage sources, you will get this window open in front of you. And you are going to click on new. And then make sure for the websites, you have website here. Now you see, you get a mark for author, make sure you have something in the author. You get a name for a mark for the name of the website, make sure. Date of publication, even if it's just a year, and then the URL. That's exactly what you get marks for in the assessment rubric. Then you take a screenshot of this. Remember that little print screen button on your laptop or on your keyboard. If you are not sure and you can't find it, you can call me over and I will help you. Okay, so then you screenshot that and you paste it in this block. Okay, then that one other thing I said I would talk about is the date of access. Now you see here in the table, I've created a section for you for date of access. So now the date of access is today, the day that you use that resource. So make it the 7th or the 8th of April or the 10th of April or whatever. But somewhere here in April now, you access that website to get the information from it. So just make sure this can't be last year or 3 months back or whatever, because we didn't do the pathing. It must be the day that you actually went into the resource. Okay. Now I'm quickly going to explain to you here with the authority, currency, accuracy, objectivity, and coverage. Okay. For that, I am going to go to the learner guidelines. Here on page, let me see, what page is this? Page 16 of 55. There's a little table here that explains it to you. And I first want to skip to the section here after the table, which says, note, one-word sentences will not be accepted. So please make sure you can't just say, for example, by objectivity, objective. You have to put it in a sentence. Okay. So let's start with the first one here. The authority means they want to know who gives the person or this website or whatever you've used the authority, the right to say what they are saying. So if it is a person who is qualified or they are in some respectable position in a company, or they have experience in this or that, whatever the case may be, you have to type a sentence on that. So let's say you've used News 24. The authority is that they are a respected and regulated newspaper website. So that information alone tells you that they will be prosecuted and get into legal trouble if they publish incorrect information. So, as I said, you can type a sentence there that says, News 24 is a respected, regulated website, therefore the information must be correct. Or if the person is a qualified someone, the author of this document or article is qualified in this field. You can even Google the person's name. So let's say you've used a resource that I've given you, but you don't know what gives that person the authority, and it's not necessarily a BBC, like BBC is also a respectable, regulated site. But let's say it's not something like that. Google the person's name, see who they are and what gives them the authority. Okay. Then with the currency, the date on which the material was published or updated, they again put it in a sentence, please. As this was created on, and then you give the date, it tells us that the information is quite current or is up to date. something like that. So in a nice sentence, using the date of that it was published or updated, you put that in a sentence to say that the information is current and relevant. Okay. Then with the accuracy, it says the correspondence of the information with other sources. So here now, if you have used more than 3 websites in your questions, you can now go back up to your 10 questions and use the URL of one of those extra sources that you used and paste the URL here. So that's all you have to do. You can just say, and again, not a one-word sentence, but when we have a whole URL, that should be fine. And you can just say that according to, because now obviously, let me just quickly show you here on the research report, you must now got your resource information that you've used here. So something that has similar information, then you're going to use that accuracy and paste that URL there. So these two must obviously then not be the same. It must be 2 different sources that have similar information to tell you that this information is accurate. Okay. Now I'm going back to the learner guidelines quickly just to finish those last 2. For objectivity, all the resources that you used has to be unbiased actually and objective. So for each one of them, just change your sentences for the 3. Say for the first one, you say the information in this resource is unbiased. And then in the next resource, say all facts in this article are objective. And the third one, another version of that. I have found that the information in this article is objective. Whatever the case may be, you have 3 different sentences saying the same thing. And then the coverage, yeah, you can type a sentence on, let's say, for example, you've found a resource that gives you information like general information about the coronavirus, the social distancing, those type of things. Then you will type a sentence by coverage that says, this resource covers information. Let me just pause here. Okay, sorry about that. I was saying that you can type a sentence there that says, this resource covers information, general information about the COVID virus and social distancing. So just a sentence that basically gives you like almost the main heading of the resource. If it is about how meetings are conducted now after COVID, then you can say, this resource covers information on how people use technology in conducting meetings after COVID. Okay, so that's it. I hope that helps. I'm going to go back to your research document for one last point, because now you've got your 3 resources here. Please go and fill in the information here, your name, ID number, the year is 2021, just change that please. Subject, my name in there, and you can say that you have not received help in the sense that I'm teaching you, so they mean did you, or you can say yes and say that I guided you in filling in, and then the date there. Okay, then for the signature, you can actually go and play. I'm finally telling you, you can go and play on Paint now. Okay, so for the signature, you can open a Paint document, make your signature with your mouse. It's not going to look exactly right, but then you can screenshot that, come and paste it here and crop it, and then you have your signature there. Okay, and then the last thing for phase 1 is please go and make screenshots of what you have inside of phase 1, inside of phase 2, and inside of phase 3, and come and paste those screenshots here respectively so that I can see the folder structure of your path folder. And just quickly to show you those last few marks on the assessment rubric. Like I said, the summaries, you get the marks for those answers. And you've now created a hyperlink to each of the bookmarks. So you can, that will be used as your summary. So as long as you have the answers to all those questions listed there, and you have the hyperlinks to the bookmarks at the top, you will get those marks. You will get that mark because all of your information is in there. I've given you the headings in that document, so you will get that mark. And there's that screenshot of the folder structure for phase 1. Now you've somewhat done phase 1, 2, and 3. So it's sorted. And then your evidence of your sources are available because you've completed that table. So everyone should get 32 out of 32 for phase 1. Please let me know if you need any help. I'd love for everyone to get full marks here.